What's up, guys? Welcome to the show. Hope you're having a fantastic day. We did the women's edition of going through different dating and relationship hot takes. And of course, we told you we were going to do the male edition of doing that. We found some very interesting videos circulating on the internet. We're going to give you our takes on it. And of course, I'm going to give my woman's perspective. And of course, we've got Taylor in Nashville to give the man's perspective.
Yeah, fellas, we dished it out against the ladies. We said we wouldn't hold back, and now it's the man's turn. So can we take it? And I'm not going to hold back against the fellas either, because you know guys would be saying some crazy stuff on the internet these days too. And
of course, we want to hear your opinions on the videos that we discussed today, so make sure to drop them in the comments down below. Okay, this first one, the caption says, Madi called the ambulance for his pregnant wife and then went to bed. Okay.
So my wife went into labor.
Yes.
And I said to Habibti, mashallah, you got this?
Yeah.
Called the ambulance, they were on their way.
Yeah.
Made sure the door was open. I said, I'm off to bed. Not just that.
Yeah.
Not just that.
Yeah.
I put, you know, on the new iPhone, on the 13 onwards, you can put the white noise.
Yes.
I put the ocean wave thing on, bruv, so that I'm not disturbed, because it was early in the morning.
Okay.
Like next to my ear. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Alhamdulillah, a couple hours later, we got a baby.
Okay, 1 second.
Principle, yani, it's not the place for a man to be with a woman in the labor ward. This is not the place.
I agree and disagree. I agree with him. I agree and disagree.
It's not a man's place. You know, this is even in England, this is a new thing, bro. Go and watch period movie pieces. Do you know what the men would do just from post World War I, 1925 onwards? You know what men would do when his wife goes into labor? They go to the pub. They go to the pub, bro, and they drink beer until the baby's born.
Explain why, so people understand. I know where you're coming from. That's the point I'm agreeing with.
Women are better at helping other laboring women. Hence why most midwives are women in the first place.
Good.
So,
okay. Interesting take. First things first, what I will say is not for me. Couldn't be me. Couldn't be me. My man, when I have children, is going to be by my side. Now, presumably, if he's married, he's found a wife that shares his values and shares this opinion and is in agreement with him that she does not want him in the labor ward. And there you go. You know, to each their own, Charlize their own. If you wanted to marry him and that's for you. In the way he's describing it, though, I think there is maybe a certain subculture of man who would agree with this opinion that women are better at helping women, and therefore maybe I should just see myself out of this situation and be there to support, you know, after you go through this labor. But in the way he's talking about it, it seems as though he's bragging about the fact that he is separating himself from his wife. And that is distinctly different than having the opinion that maybe women are better at taking on this task. Why, if that was your opinion, did you emphasize the fact that you turned on a white noise sound so that you didn't have to listen to the labor pains of your laboring wife? That, to me, was a little telling and a little bit of a red flag. But again, if you're a woman and this is what you wanted and you agreed that he was going to be separate from this whole process and that is something you came to terms with, then by all means, choose a man who is like this. All I'm going to say is, could not be me. My man's going to be there to support me. And there's one thing, like I do agree, when I'm pregnant, I want a female midwife, and if I decide to go with an OB, I want a female OB. And yes, women understand the woman's body, they understand labor. Presumably you want somebody who has had kids before, if not one, multiple children. And yeah, women would be better at understanding the intricacies of labor, the pain that comes with it, and the process of giving birth to a child. Does that mean I don't want extra support from my husband and I don't want him to experience the birth of his child? No, but again, to each their own on that one. Taylor?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's probably no surprise that I can't imagine not being there for my wife in the hospital when she would have a baby. And I can maybe make room and allowance for this being a different culture, different subculture, like you're saying, also in a different time. Like I was recently listening to a sermon about marriage and about sexuality in modern day and age. And the minister was talking about how in the past, marriage was really about status and about finances and then fertility and just having children. And so if the function of marriage is only about those things and not about marrying for love, marrying to become one with another person, to become one flesh, about having companionship at the deepest possible level, then I could see where if the function of your marriage is not basis in love and companionship, but in procreation only, then I could understand maybe going to the pub while your wife's in labor. But in the marriage that I'm familiar with and the marriage that I believe in, I think this is one of the most vulnerable times that your wife can possibly experience. One of the times where she probably needs as much emotional support and support in general as you could possibly provide. If she's going to be going, it's going to be one of the most difficult and painful experiences of her life. And to leave her alone in that is just unthinkable to me. Of course, you want to take, obviously, you can't take any of the physical burden away from her. That is not something that you're able to do. And to me, that's a terrifying and horrible feeling to know that like my wife would have to go through something like that. That's going to be painful that I can't like physically alleviate. But you can do everything else in your power to try to alleviate that situation by being available, being emotional support, encouraging her, and just being present and supportive. And to not be willing to do that and to be at the pub, I just don't understand how that paradigm works. But again, I just defer to maybe this is just a totally different paradigm of marriage. And to Amala's point, to each their own, Charlize Theron, I suppose.
Yeah, right. If you're happy, she's happy. I guess you go for it. I'd also want like a man who's excited to meet his child when the child comes into the world. That's like another, like I can't imagine holding this man's child and then he's like, comes in with like beer breath from the pub. That would be wild. Okay. Again, it just is not for me personally. I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Are there any men watching right now who decided not to be there for the birth of their child, and purposefully so? Not like you couldn't get there in time because you were at work or something like that, but like you decided amongst yourselves, this is something I'm going to keep, separate from me. I'm curious to hear about that and what factors were at play when making that decision.
Yeah, did she not want you in there? That's been an interesting one that I would be interested to hear, because I'm sure that possibly is a thing.
Oh, I think that's definitely. I think there are women, maybe not, it's not as common anymore, but women who are just like, oh, I don't want you to see that, or I don't want you to be there in that moment, or I feel more comfortable around other women, or like my mom or my grandmother or something like that. So there's room for that as well. Drop your interesting birth decisions in the comments down below. Okay, this next one. Let's see. This is posted by Ian Miles Chong. It says, hey guys, how does it feel knowing that 60% of the dates that you go out with end like this? Okay.
You met her at the bar. She gave you her number. She seemed somewhat interested. You started texting her. For 2 weeks, you're putting in work. She's not the best texter. You're carrying the conversation, but you asked her out and she agreed to a date. You're hype. You tell your boys. You ask them where you should take her. They recommend a spot that's cool but not too pricey. Boom. Date night comes around. You pick her up. She looks good. You take her to the spot. She's never been there before. She doesn't know what to order. Doesn't matter. When she gets her food, she doesn't eat much. She claims she's not really hungry. She probably just doesn't want to eat in front of you. The date's going well, though. She's laughing at your jokes. The conversation isn't boring. She seems like she's having a good time. The dinner's coming to an end. You're getting nervous. You don't know if you should invite her over, if she's gonna invite you over. What's the next move? You ask her what she's doing after this. She says she's tired, she's got work in the morning, but she'd love to hang another time. You're cool with that answer. She gets a to-go box, you pay for her meal, you take her home. You pull up to her crib, you get out the car, run around and open her door. She thanks you for the date, gives you a hug, and says, text me when you get home safe. You think that's the end of the night. You're going home with a smile on your face. Little do you know, she just texted me what you doing with the eye emoji. I told her I was chilling. She said, you should come over. I said, bet, give me 30. I pull up to her crib, knock on her door, she lets me in. She's trying to take me straight to the bedroom. I tell her I'm low-key kind of hungry. You got any snacks? She offers me her leftovers from the dinner you paid for. I like that place. You picked a good spot. I put the food in the microwave, warm it up. I'm devouring that shit while asking her how the date went. She said you were cool, but not her normal type. I asked her what's her normal type. She said me. I laugh. I'm done eating. It's time to do what I came here for. And I do exactly that. 1, 2, maybe 3 times. It's getting late though. She asked me if I wanted to stay tonight. I'm good. I get up, get dressed. She walks me out. Boom, I'm headed home. She goes back to her room, checks her phone. She sees a text from you. Hey,
Let's
got
keep-
home
I guess
safe.
we'll
She
finish
likes
it.
the message. She texts you back, had a really good time tonight. Can't wait to do it again. Winky emoji. You go to sleep with a smile on your face. I go to sleep with a smile on my face. She goes to sleep with a smile on her face. That's what I call a team win.
I have a headache from that. I think I actually have a headache. I think I actually developed a medical ailment from watching that. I do not like whatever genre of man that is supposed to be, or should I say boy, that is supposed to be. What is the utility in creating a video like this? And who are you talking to? If anything, all that you're admitting to is that you're messing around with, somebody without character, it seems. And who even knows if this is true? Think men who like speak the loudest on the internet about all their conquests and all the women that they're sleeping with are just like filled with like machismo and ego, and half of it isn't true, and they just build this sort of persona around themselves. Either you're messing around with just not quality women, and given that that's his personality, I would imagine that's the case. Or you're duping these women, because, wow, was that the most off-putting video I've come across thus far. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's more of a lose, right? Because this guy is basically admitting that this girl doesn't think I'm boyfriend material, but I'm proud of that fact. And I'm also proud of the fact that I'm getting kind of the physical sloppy seconds of someone else's like emotional date, and it's like weird flex, but okay, I guess. Like if that's the
Right.
life you want to live, but you're a trash dude with a trash girl. She's manipulating this dude and using him. And to me, it's like everyone loses in this situation. The girl seems like she might be interested in a real dating relationship, and yet is undercutting that by messing around with you. You're being shown that you're not boyfriend material, and the good, honest guy who is just trying to give you a good time and pursue something real is being totally used and manipulated and undercut by everybody. So this, to me, is much more of a lose than a win-win-win.
Yeah, it's so not a flex by any stretch of the imagination, yet it is being painted as one. And I've seen this guy on TikTok before. This is like his whole shtick, is that he's this guy and he gets all these girls. And I just see nothing fulfilling or rewarding about a lifestyle like this, except you get to, I guess, flex on men. But who is being flexed on? Like other immature men who are falling for this very same mentality and think that this is the lifestyle that they want to have, I guess. Yeah, Taylor put it best. Weird flex. But okay.
I'm reminded of the last, I don't remember what Harry Potter it is, but it's one of the later Harry Potters. And Harry Potter says to Voldemort that you will never know love or friendship, and I feel sorry for you. And that is how I feel after watching that video.
100%. You just see like, you can just tell there's a void. Somebody hurt you also, clearly. Like I'm picturing some girl in the past did that exact same thing to him. So instead of using that for like character development or actually obtaining morals and values in your relationship to women and in dating, you just go on and become the very thing that hurt you.
Which is a much harder conquest too, by the way, right? Yeah. Like to actually win a girl's heart and in a sincere way, and earn her trust because you are trustworthy, and earn her love because you are worthy of that love, and because you have treated her in the right way, because you have built yourself into a man of character and value. That is so much more of a flex than just being able to get in bed with a girl who clearly has issues of her own. Like this goes nowhere. Nothing can be built upon it. It's shallow, and it's sad. Again, I feel sorry for you.
Yeah, and let me stoop to his level for a second. It's a little beta to eat food that another man has paid for. So you should probably think about that. Next time.
Boom, roaster.
This next one says, y'all dress like little kids. Oh, let's hear this take. Okay.
I'm gonna keep telling y'all dress like little kids. I don't care what anybody say, bro. The classy man is always the best looking man. Nobody could beat that guy. I don't give a damn what you say, bro. I don't give a damn about no new trends, these baggy clothes bullshit.
Okay, first of all, That fit eats. I don't know what you're talking about. If I saw a man walking down the street in this outfit, I'd be like, okay, style, okay. What are you talking about?
You think look cool, you don't look like a man. I don't give a damn what you think. A man is not baggy clothes.
Again, the fit eats. This is a fantastic outfit. This is a man who like understands style. Maybe I'm just misguided here, but that's a fit.
Who wear baggy clothes? Homeless people. So if you guys want to be homeless people, that's okay. Imagine if James Bond dressed like you. He was walking around with his baggy clothes. You think people would take him seriously? When he came out for a mission and he was wearing that bull you be wearing, you think people would take him seriously?
Oh no.
Wow.
That is so funny. I would not listen to this guy if you are a man. I don't know. Not the advice that I would take. Considering both examples of the outfits that he showed were absolutely stunning. At least in my opinion, you probably don't want to take his advice. Now, in a general sense, do I think it's a good thing to try to have class in the way that you present yourself and to take care of the way you look? 100%. But does class mean that you can't wear baggy clothing? I don't think so. And this equivalence of like baggy clothing makes you look like a homeless person, I think is just ridiculous. Some people just talk to talk, and you know, you can be classy and exude classiness in a million different ways. And one of those ways is baggy clothing. Both of those outfits that he showed looked hella expensive. So I'm confused, to say the least. Taylor.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's as simple as this. Grounding your sense of self-confidence as a man in what you wear is kind of beta and weak and not that attractive to women in general. Just generally speaking. Now, can you wear a more fashionable, tasteful outfit by modern standards and still not be a beta and still be attractive to women? Yes, of course. But that you're going to attract the women because of your self-confidence that exists outside of having the latest cool clothes and trends and everything like that. If your confidence rests on that, then we're in trouble. But ditto, if you think that the classic look is what's going to get you the ladies and what's going to earn your right to go in the world with self-confidence, like it's not really, if it's only as deep as your clothes and you're putting your weight in that and as yourself for your self-confidence, it's not going to get you very far. And like there's something to be said for that dad swag, right? That Kohl's cash, those guys who just kind of rock whatever and don't care that much. And you don't want to be a slob, you don't want to be clueless, and you know, but generally speaking, and you to correct me if I'm wrong, Amala, but girls don't care that much about what guys wear one way or the other. As long as you're like somewhat put together, they think it's kind of cute if you don't really know what you're doing. It's kind of a little cheesy, a little generic, a little dad-like. But if you want to express yourself too, girls can appreciate that as long as you're not being like, you know, you're putting all your confidence in that. So it's, to me, it's much more of like the inward issue of like where your self-worth and self-confidence is at as a man, as opposed to like which style is the correct way for a man to dress.
Right. There's a woman who will appreciate everything. There's a woman for everything, honestly, when it comes to, you know, like style and the way you dress or how much you care about it or how much you don't. It really is about having a great personality and coming to the table like self-assured and not really worrying too much about what other people are thinking. So that is a really good point. Yeah, I think girls like everything. There's girls who really like a man who cares about his style. There's girls who are not so much into that. And for the most part, I think they're swayable in any direction. Clothing should not be a deal breaker or something that makes or breaks your relationship with somebody. And if it is, next. Some of the comments on this are really funny, though. Okay, Ariana Grande reference, Taylor.
I got y'all. I'm in touch with the kids and the Gen Z stuff.
Yeah. The comments on this says, blood has beef with drip. And bro thinks we going out on missions. And his girl got stolen by a guy with baggy clothes. Oh, these are funny. I'm having more fun with this one. I'm having more fun.
An uncontroversial way to say this is I prefer a more classic look to a more trendy modern look in male fashion. And then it's like, okay, nice. But of course, you have to come out with this sweeping generalizations for it to go viral on TikTok.
Yes, they just go, women only want classy men. They're not going for anything else or whatever. Oh my gosh, it's a little bit too much. Now this next one says never be a beta. Okay, let's figure this out. Never be a beta. What does he mean and how do we avoid it?
Never be a beta. Just never, ever do it. It is death. Never, ever, ever do it. Okay? Just wipe that out of your mind. It is nothing good comes from that. Ever. Okay? The only thing good is if you're like in jail and you're about to get shot. You're like, okay, Other than that, if you're in a free society, don't do it. It just doesn't happen. It cannot happen. Okay? Now, going from there, and by the way, the sooner you accept this, the easier life gets. You're like, oh, life is actually awesome when you accept it. As long as you don't accept it, and you're like, I just want someone to like me for the real beta me, your life's gonna be freaking miserable. People around you will be miserable, and you will be miserable. So just get over it. Now, okay, it doesn't mean to walk around paranoid. An alpha male is comfortable with themselves. Now, going from there, the number one trait of an alpha is self-comfort. So just be comfortable with yourself. Stop being uncomfortable with yourself and hiding.
Whoa. My gosh. I just feel like I went on a roller coaster. I don't know what that was. We didn't get a definition of what it means to be a beta. We were just told not to be one. And then we were told that an alpha isn't paranoid and he has self-comfort. And the only time you should be a beta is if somebody is holding a gun to your head in jail. What is going on in this? I don't know what's going on. Taylor, can you translate?
I don't know. I might need to hear some of it again because
Me
he's talking
too.
about being comfortable, but don't be comfortable in your comfortableness and be an alpha. But I did start busting out laughing as soon as I heard her voice because I've been watching the show The King of Queens, like early 2000s sitcom, and it has Patton Oswalt in it, and he plays a very much beta character who like works at a subway station booth and lives with his mom and is just generally kind of the loser of the group. And this guy sounds exactly like Patton Oswalt in that show, and it just is too ironic to me that he's saying don't be a beta in his totally like beta voice.
Maybe I need to give this another listen because I know there was something else I missed in there that needed a comment. Let's I'm gonna skip a little bit ahead, but let's hear from this guy again.
Okay? Just wipe that out of your mind. It is nothing good comes from that. Ever. Okay? The only thing good is if you're like in jail and you're about to get shot. You're like, okay. Other than that, if you're in a free society, don't do it. It just doesn't happen. It cannot happen. Okay? Now, going from there, and by the way, the sooner you accept this, the easier life gets. You're like, oh, life is actually awesome when you accept it. As long as you don't accept it, and you're like, I just want someone to like me for the real beta me, your life's gonna be freaking miserable. People around you will be miserable, and you will be miserable. So just get over it. Now, okay, it doesn't mean to walk around paranoid. An alpha male is comfortable with themselves. Now, going from there, the number one trait of an alpha is self-comfort. So just be comfortable with yourself.
Just be comfortable with yourself, guys. You're not feeling self-assured, feeling a little bit anxious, a little bit depressed. Just be comfortable with yourself. Just turn that frown upside down, guys, and be comfortable with yourself. Also, the idea that if you are thinking, I would want somebody to love me for who I really am and love me for me, that it somehow makes you a beta is just astounding to me. Everybody who is listening right now, I hope that if you are in search of love, you are looking for somebody who loves you for who you actually are, not some sort of caricature that you take on for the sake of, trying to get women or trying to get play, as I imagine is this guy's goal in whoever the audiences that he's talking to here, which I can't even imagine what that would look like. But wow. And the idea of self-comfort comes when you just make the decision to be comfortable with oneself. Mind-blowing.
Right. It's basically fake it till you make it is what he's preaching, right?
Yeah.
Like act like an alpha, even though if you feel not assured in yourself, even if you wish that people really knew you for who you really are and wanted to value you on the merits of who you are as a human being and what you bring. Don't just suppress all that. Suppress your concerns about being known for who you truly are and push that down and just act like an alpha. And then you will earn the respect of other people. And nothing could be further from the truth. You need to face the realities of who you are, the ugly parts of yourself, the weak parts of yourself, and overcome them. And you need to build yourself and become a strong person. And that will be the source of your confidence. But you're not going to be able to really live in the world with confidence by acting confident and acting strong and acting like an alpha. That is a fake shortcut to something that you really haven't earned, and it's going to undercut. And the proof's in the pudding, right? He says, be an alpha unless you're like in prison and then someone threatens you. Like, what happened to the old classic advice of when you get put in prison, you go find the biggest alpha guy and you go punch him in the face, just to like establish your dominance. Like, what happened to that advice? Instead, he's saying, go find the alpha and like, I don't know, get pegged by him. Like, give me a break, dude.
Yeah, I don't. The immediate contradiction of it's beta to want somebody to love you for yourself, but also you have to find self-comfort in order to be an alpha. Oh, gosh. Some people just get access to a microphone and they have just enough audacity and confidence to be able to spew the word salad to the masses, and people pick it up. People pick it up.
Good on you, bro. Good on you. Not really.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I'm glad you made it, I guess. This next one is why women don't want children. Let's hear.
If I was a woman, I wouldn't want to have a child either. Why would I want to have a child? I don't need to have a child. I don't need to have a man. I don't need to pretend that I'm in love. I don't need to pretend that I want to be a mother. I don't need to stay at home and play giggle giggle with a little child who's just another slave in the system. I don't have to do any of this shit. Why should I do that? Why should I waste my resources doing this when there's other games that are much more fun that are available for me to play? Why? And don't tell me I will find fulfillment, because my mother didn't find fulfillment. My grandmother didn't find fulfillment. And that's why I'm the byproduct of their lack of fulfillment. So I'm talking as a woman, right? I'm the byproduct of my mom, my grandmother, and all these lineages of women that came before me, and I'm the byproduct of their discontent. And then you tell me I should do the same thing as they did. Well, quite clear it didn't work out. So why I should do this? What's the point? How's that going to fulfill me? And the only reason I did that before, or a couple of generations ago, is because the zoo required me, through its ordained religious priests and its science of the time, which was religion, that imposes us to do that and gave us, this is what you are as a woman, you're supposed to give birth, and you as a man are supposed to go work in the field like a donkey. This was ordered by the zookeepers in order for us to create more slaves so that we can build the zoo and make the zoo structure increase and grow and grow and grow. So I didn't really want to have a child. I was obliged to have a child. It was what I did because there's nothing else to do. And that was what was told to me to do, even though it may match my biology. I didn't necessarily want to have a child. What for? What's in it for me?
Okay. I think he is, speaking to a certain group of women who do 100% have this very same mentality, and he seems to have struck a chord with that particular group of women. They're all in the comment section saying that, like, this guy's speaking my language, this guy understands it, men like this above other men. So clearly he has struck a chord with a lot of modern women. This doesn't happen to be my mentality towards having children, although I can see from his perspective how many women of the past might have been, by virtue of the society that they were born into, thrust into motherhood and put in that position where they felt as though they had no other choice and that they were in fact obligated to have children. Do I think women who feel this way in today's time are going to necessarily be fulfilled by this choice to not have children? Maybe. Some of them might. And I do 100% believe if you are a woman who does not feel a sense of drive towards motherhood, you do not feel attached to the idea of motherhood, you do not personally want children, by all means, see yourself out of motherhood. Do not have a child and go about your business and choose something different for your life, because we don't want unloved children, running around in this world. For me, there is so much more to motherhood than what was described from this perspective, but it's a perspective different from my own. It's not a game to be played, and life is not about games to be played for the sake of having fun, as he insinuates in his little monologue that he does. And it's not playing goo-goo with the baby while the husband goes and, you know, slaves away and stuff like that. It is the future sitting before you. It's somebody whose life you are now dedicated to. It's a moment where when your child is here, you are something outside of yourself. You're in service to something outside of yourself. And if you don't want that for your life and you want to think me, what makes me happy, what games can I play to have more fun, as he says, then by all means, do not have a kid. But I don't know how that mentality flies as you age and as you gain more wisdom in the world we live in.
Yeah, I think that's probably a great word, is just wisdom. That's maybe lacking here. But I agree with your point that if you are going to resent a child, if you have one, then definitely don't bring one into the world, because the last thing the world needs is more children who are unloved and unwanted. And as he was talking, I was thinking like, man, this just sounds like, I was thinking, who hurt you? And then I heard him go on to describe the way that his mother seemed to resent him for existing, because and saw that her motherhood as being something that was depriving her of what she really wanted or holding her back. And of course, you're going to internalize that and have this attitude toward having kids of your own if that was your experience. And he brought in some religious elements into that as well. But I just think it's really sad, and I think you're depriving yourself of one of life's greatest joys. That is just, it seems like it would be self-evident, but it's not these days with how much the discourse around children has changed. But I kind of think about it like this: like meaning and fulfillment are attached to responsibility. And you can feel wanted and needed because your boss at your 9-to-5 job wants you and needs you. And that can bring you a sense of meaning and fulfillment. Or you can feel wanted and needed because you created a human being and that they are dependent on you for their existence. And that whatever you teach them, whatever you put into them, whatever you model for them is going to be perpetuated in the earth. That is a great responsibility, but within that comes so much, what I would think is so meaningful and so fulfilling to know that you have something enduring, something that it's just a tremendous amount of stewardship, something that depends on you completely. And yeah, that's a daunting idea. And yeah, it's going to require sacrifice, and it's going to rob you of certain things, of your independence and your ability to just do whatever you want, whenever you want. And hey, it may rob you of being needed and wanted by your 9-to-5 career as much by comparison. But man, to me, it's like holding a candle to the sun in terms of how much value and meaning you can get out of something like that, between family and career, or family and your personal independence. And, you know, like Amal always says, like, and we said in these videos, to each their own, Charlize Theron. And I'm not here to cast judgments necessarily upon people's lifestyle choices, but I do just kind of, a part of me just feels sad that that he seems to, this seems to maybe be coming out of hurt that he's internalized and experienced, and that he may be deprived of what would otherwise be just a tremendous amount of joy and fulfillment, just for that dysfunction and that pain.
Yeah, there's this. What's more wild than what he said in the video, since he's just taking the perspective of the women he sees, is the comment section. Like the comment section, I'm going through it right now, and it's actually just like blowing my mind. The women who are saying, you know, he's completely speaking facts and putting in quotes. What is it that I get from this? I'm trying to find the direct quote here so that you guys can read it. What's in it for me? He is speaking my language. It's just such an interesting. You know, it's okay, I guess. It's your life. Be self-centered in it. But what an interesting perspective to have here. Again, what's in it for me? Somebody wrote. I saw a comment down here that I'm trying to find where a woman says, you know, I love my children, but if somebody had told me what this was going to entail, I'd have gotten a goldfish, she says, in reference to having made the decision to have kids. Here it is. I wanted kids, but if I'd known then what I know now, I'd have gotten a goldfish. Oh, lordy, lordy, lord. We're going to have an interesting time. And again, this is like growing pains. This is an era that we're going through right now as a society. And we'll see where this lands us and how people, I guess, move with these new values and the new decisions that they're making. And we're seeing this reflected in society, this mentality. And we'll see where it goes. Me personally, I'm having my kids. But again, you don't want them, please don't. We don't need other, as he puts, byproducts of your discontent. By all means, see it yourself out. You're gonna say, Taylor?
And to your point, I hope that it's something that can be like grown out of. Like I remember one time my dad had a heart to heart with me, and I never forgot it. But he was basically describing how early on in having kids, he felt a inner sort of battle going on where he was trying to like hang on to his independence and trying to hang on to his sort of, I don't know, fulfillment in other things in career and like prioritizing those. And then he'd come home, he had 4 kids to like play with, and we had Bible time before we went to bed, and like just have the constant demand on like t-ball and practice and all these things. It weighs on you. But he said, I just reached a point where I was like, I have to decide like where I'm going to find my fulfillment, basically. And he's like, I'm a father, I'm embracing that. And when he just let go of his like need, because it's like I'm weighing these two things, like my individual like desire to go play golf and drink beer or whatever, and literal 4 children who like depend on me and need me, and I created. And when he put it like that, it was like, obviously, like I know where I need to put my heart. And so he said, he's like, I just stopped fighting it and decided to show up for my kids and be the best dad I could be. And that in and of itself became so much more fulfilling than anything else I could have pursued as like my own independent self. And again, there's exceptions to everything. And, some people just aren't made for it or whatever. And I fully accept that. But it's concerning that just parenthood in general is something that seems to be really devalued by modern culture. And you see it in the birth rates that declined in like all the developed nations. And it's a sad thing because, again, I think there's great meaning to be found in it.
Yeah, I just can't like. There's something to be said for, I guess, going through an adjustment period with kids. And I hope that's what this is for like a lot of these commenters and stuff. And maybe that's similar. Maybe it's similar to what your dad went through. And it's just like you're thrust into a new life that you can't possibly be prepared for because, there's no, as many rule books as you read, there's never going to be one that fully lets you know what your experience is going to be like. And hopefully it's just an adjustment period. This one woman says here, I love my kids, but seriously, it's just 3 more people depending on me working and supporting them while they enjoy their childhood. Like she feels a sense of resentment towards her kids being
happy.
able to enjoy their childhood. That's so crazy to me. So crazy to me.
Yeesh.
Anyways, yeah, don't do it if you don't want it. And clearly this guy struck a chord. It's got 500,000 likes on this, 20,000 comments, and mostly of women saying, I feel this exact same way. And maybe it's a lack of wisdom. Maybe they just know themselves and that's not what they want. But guys, that is the final video in this iteration of Dating Hot Takes, male edition. Let me know your thoughts on all the videos that we watched today. As always, if you disagree with us, do so in the comments. We encourage healthy debate, so duke it out, but do so respectfully. And if you like this video, like, subscribe, click the notification bell to be notified every single time I post a video for you guys, which is every single day. And I will see you next time. Bye, guys.